Okay, let's get into importing our poetry or copying pasting our poetry. So, first I'm going to start with I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to highlight this text. I can double click and get it all. I can highlight it by holding it down, or I can do Control A. I'm going to call this my poetry book. It can be collection 2020. Now, fourth graders, remember, if you don't love this font, that's okay. You can go ahead and highlight it. You can come up here where it says font. You can pick a different font. My poetry book, that might work. There's one that has a little italicizing going on there. That's kind of fun. Looks like paintbrush strokes, so that might work. And then I guess, I don't even know if some of you guys know this. There are some other tools that you can use as well. If you go to Format Options, you can come over here and check out some tools. Reflection, I don't think you'd want to use that. I don't know if you guys notice I'm circling that it's showing a reflection down here. So I can take that off. It does have a drop shadow, and you can even play with this. The drop shadow is what goes behind the font to make it look like it has a shadow, so you can see how I'm increasing it. I can come back and I can decrease it, but that shadow makes the letters look like they're jumping off the page. You can play with just how it looks. So you might have fun if you get into thinking about what you want your book to look like, playing with some of these different format options that you have. There's some that you can do with indentations, position where you want it to be from the top. So you can just, if I start playing with this, you can see how it's moving it. But of course I want it centered in my box. When I go to Y, the Y-axis, the Y goes up and down, it's vertical. So those are some, and then size and rotation. You can work on the size. You can rotate it, flip it. So if I flipped it, I can do lots of those fun things, just so you know. And I gave it a little bit of a drop shadow, and I kind of like that. So let me just show you where I went to get that again. If you go to Format Options can help you get there. Now I'm going to look at this page. I don't really need this, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Okay, this slide works for me, and I know that I have a poem about the color blue, and you'll notice that the brush strokes are blue. So title of my poem will be Blue. And I have my poems open. Remember I said you can go to Google Classroom to go to Class Drive folder to find it. You can go to your Drive and go to Classroom and click on it and find your poetry. But you want to have your poetry open. And so I'm going to go down. I told you I have a color poem on blue. So I'm going to highlight that entire poem. And then I can either hit Control C, or I can actually go up to here and hit Edit and copy. And now I'm going to go back to my book. This is my text box where I'm going to put my poem. And I want to get rid of all this text. So again, I can hit Control A to highlight it all, or I can hold my thumb down and move to highlight all that text and just backspace and it's gone. You'll notice that my arrow is in the center. Your text box, you can decide where you want that cursor to start. If you go to Format, and if you go to Align and Indent, I can go down to top, middle, or bottom to put that cursor where I want it. So now it's at the top because I clicked on top. And I can put it back in the middle. Just, again, another tool that might be good for you to know. Now, I already copied my poem. So now I'm going to hit Control V. Again, another thing I can do is go up to Edit and just click Paste. You'll notice sometimes when you copy and paste, your words might come in formatted a little differently, and you can fix that. Now I'm going to highlight all this text because, of course, I want to go find the right font. Let me see. I'm going to try this one. It's kind of small. I'm thinking my readers probably can't read it that well. So I'm going to increase the font size by just clicking the plus. It also, the black feels a little heavy to me. I might actually switch it. That feels a little too light to something just a little lighter. And maybe I'll go back to black. Oop, I need to click all of it. Maybe I'll go back to black. And maybe what I'll do is highlight that and turn it to blue. Blue is joyful, as lively as our soccer ball, as calm as our couch, like a new toy on my birthday. So that's me importing one poem. Now I have another color poem. So I want to show you guys what I can do with that. I'm going to go here. And remember, your font doesn't have to be the same on each page. And I'm just going to have one poem here. So I'll just move this over here for right now. And that red line that appears helps you to align boxes. So it is cutting straight across to that white box, so I know that they're hitting at a pretty much the same height. I also have a poem that's called Black, but you'll notice I have a green background. I don't think black on green will work very well. So what I can do is I can click on background. And I'll click on background. I could import an image if I wanted to, but I'm just going to change the color. So I can click on this and look. I have solid colors. There are gradient colors, which means the color fades a little. So I'm just going to play and I'm going to pick black and oh, I kind of like that. So now I have black. So now I'm going to go get my poem and I'm going to go ahead again and highlight it, and I'm just going to Control C to copy, come back over and paste it in. I might move it around a little, bring up this bottom part, and I'm going to choose my font. Because I'm dealing with black, I might have a font that's not as fluffy or cursive-y and maybe something a little more, it has a little more strength to it. Now, if you notice, my words are moving around a little. If I just extend this box, my words come up. And I think that looks better for poetry. You know, couple returns, not too many. Don't love that font, but you guys aren't worried about what I love and don't love right now. So, but just, I think about what font reflects the mood of my poem, and I try to match that. But I'm not going to do it forever with you guys. So just something to think about. Maybe it just needs to be a little bigger. And so you can start creating your own book. Now let me show you something if you wanted to put 2 poems on one page. This has 3 different columns, right? For your haikus, you might want to put 2 haikus on one page. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so I'm going to just title this haikus, because haikus don't have to have a title. Poems in general don't have to have a title. They can, they don't have to. There's so much flexibility with it, right? So I'm going to go to one of my haikus, and I'm going to get this haiku about a tree in our backyard. I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to bring it over. Oh, you get to see what it looks like. And I'm going to highlight all of that. I'm going to paste right over it. And then I'm just going to go get my other one about Fat Stanley, a squirrel in our backyard. And I'm going to come over and I'm going to highlight that all and I'm going to paste it. Okay, so now I've got to do some formatting. I got to get this to reflect that it's outside, it's green. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change my background color from purple and I'm going to go with green because I feel like that better reflects sort of, ooh, not that green though. Take two. I'm going to get a different one. Let's see. You know, done. That's better. I like that. Okay. Now I am going to go ahead and find a font that I like again. And I'll just go with this one. Ooh, tiny. I've got to increase that font size. And I'm also going to stretch this box out a little. And I'm going to return after each stanza. Remember, a stanza is like a paragraph in a poetry. And I think you need to think about how your stanzas look because that's part of the movement of poetry is even how your words move in the poem. Okay, so that kind of works for me and I might even bring that up. I might bring this down. See all the things you get to play with and think about. It's so fun, actually. Okay, that's one. Now I'm going to do Fat Stanley and I'm going to pick his. And I'll go with something a little different. Again, I'll think about all these things, but I'm not going to take your time for it. Return between my stanzas. Stretch it out a little. Now, I don't like when my words are happening in the middle of my text box. It kind of just drives me crazy. So I'm just going to move it to the top. I don't like big text boxes. All right, great. Well, I have two poems here. I have one about a squirrel and one about a tree. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put in a picture. So I'm going to insert image. I'm going to search from the web. And I am going to look for a squirrel. Okay. And I'm going to see what squirrel I like. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. So I'm going to bring in one. I'm just holding down with my thumb, my pointer finger, and dragging it in. It's going to come in on the big side. Oh, it's not too bad. I'm still going to shrink it down. I don't want my picture to dominate. Right now, my picture is so much bigger than my the words in my haiku, and I might have to increase the size of my haiku. And maybe, oh, get rid of that because I like it at the top. I'm going to bring that up. So now I have a little more flexibility. So maybe what I'm going to do, I'll put this poem on top next to the picture. Whoops. I'm going to drag it. I'll bring it up here. My little picture. Let me show you a cool feature that some of you guys might know. I'm going to highlight this whole picture. And I'm going to click on these three dots. And instead of having it left justified, I'm going to have it right justified. So now you'll notice I have a nice straight line with my words here against my picture. And I can even drop my picture a little and line that up. And I could do the same for the bottom if I wanted to. If you want to, you can do what you want and I'll move it over and maybe I go find a picture of a tree now. And then I think you guys know that if you wanted to slant something, this does turn it if you felt like it. So I just wanted to show you a few tools. This is one I was working on earlier with these two poems. I think I like the lighter green better than the darker green, but that gives you an idea of how to import a picture, how to copy and paste your text, how to change the background. And so hopefully you can get started on that and have fun while you create your poetry book.